The time is just gone 9:32 a.m. on News and Views this morning, and many of us who have been caught up with what has been happening in Palestine in the last few months and last few weeks. But let us not take our eye off the ball in other areas around the world. And particularly this morning, we are talking about the Rohingya, and we are joined on the line by Shabnam Mayet from Protect the Rohingya. Shabnam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Yes, Jazakallah to you as well. And Shabnam, I know it's the first time we are talking since you lost your father, your dad, and our condolences, our du'as, our thoughts are with you, your family, and also du'as for your father. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him Jannah. Allah fallis kabar nur inshallah.
Ameen. Jazakallah.
Right, Shabnam, let's talk about Rohingya. And as I said, let us not take our eye off the ball. And we've seen this press releases come out, joining the movement, wearing black in solidarity on Sunday, the 13th of June.
So, it's the 8th year of our social media campaign, and it's called Black for Rohingya. And we were always saying, what can we do? There's nothing we can do. It's too far away. And if you find yourself asking that question, then this Sunday, you can wear black and you can post a message of solidarity on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And it's all about raising awareness about the Rohingya. And alhamdulillah, last year we had over 26,000 actions. And inshallah, we hope this year to top it.
Well, certainly. And also, I think, obviously solidarity is one issue, but sometimes, we need to continuously remind ourselves of the plight of the Rohingya. We've heard in the past about refugees. We've heard about concentration camps. And when I look at, what is happening with Rohingya and in this press release, it talks about in 2019 where the Bangladeshi government began construction of a 140-kilometer fencing to enclose the Rohingya refugee camps. Now, obviously, this says a lot, when we talking about these refugees, but also, like I mentioned, we've heard about concentration camps. Perhaps, maybe, I don't know whether it's too harsh a term to use, but this is exactly, the situation or the predicament that they find themselves in.
No, I think it's totally accurate because it's not just that the fencing goes around the camp as a security measure according to the Bangladeshi government, but it also goes through the camp. And we're talking about almost 1 million people who are living in close proximity. And what the fence has done is it's blocked neighbors off from neighbors. It's blocked people with disabilities and the elderly off from, their freedom of movement has been affected. They can't get to healthcare as easily. Kids can't get to school as easily. And, in camps, there've been many fires. One displaced 50,000 people. And the fence being there actually stopped people from getting to safety. And so not only is it a hazard to safety, but it's also creating a prison-like atmosphere. And this is not what the Rohingya need, especially considering what they've been through. And then the other big thing on the news, of course, is Basan Char. And Human Rights Watch just took out their report just this week, calling it a prison island in the middle of the sea. This is what they said one of the Rohingya called it. And instead of the Bangladeshi government saying, look, these are what the Rohingya on Basan Char are saying, there's food scarcity, they don't have access to all the things the government promised, the government is trying to quell dissent and not allowing them to speak out, even when the UN delegation went, even when the local Rohingya delegation went. So it's the fence, it's the island, it's the fact that they can't go out and seek work, they can't be part of proper schooling, and this is just in Bangladesh. In Myanmar, they're subject to all the same things they've been subject to for decades now.
Well, certainly, and I think this is the reason, we're saying that, obviously they are vulnerable and they are vulnerable in more ways than one.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the island and we're talking about the elements, vulnerable to the elements, but also in terms of vulnerable to people who are supposedly there to take care of them.
Exactly. And we always say that we will be judged by how the most vulnerable in our societies and communities are treated. So if this is how the Rohingya are being treated, what does it say about Bangladesh? And also, some good news, I would like to call it, a glimmer of good news on the horizon, is that, as you know, that in Myanmar, the people of Myanmar have been fighting against the coup since the 1st of February. And last week, the shadow or parallel government made a statement calling for the Rohingya to join the fight, against this military dictatorship. And they released a statement because there's been like a lot of issues asking, how does this parallel government see the Rohingya? And they're talking about repealing the 1982 citizenship law, which makes the Rohingya foreigners, and saying that in the new citizenship laws, they want to base it on birth in Myanmar or birth anywhere to Myanmar citizens. And that Rohingya will be entitled to citizenship in accordance with fundamental human rights. And they also want to start the process to grant the ICC jurisdiction over the crimes committed against Rohingya in Myanmar. It's still, we still have to see what that means and how that will play out. But this recognition is a step in the right direction. But we must remember that the 120,000 still remain in actual concentration camps in Rohingya. The rest of the 120,000 Rohingya still remain in concentration camps in Arakan state, and other 600,000 still remain subject to the Myanmar military government.
Yes. Now, also, Shabnam, just trying to understand this move in terms of trying to encourage the Rohingya to be part of the protest action against this military government. But at the end of the day, nobody obviously has been held accountable for these atrocities that have taken place. And this obviously is important. This is absolutely essential.
Well, now that the protesters have been facing the same military government and that it has unleashed the same infantry, 33rd Infantry Light Division onto the peaceful protesters, it's arresting protesters. We're talking about over 4,000 arrested, almost 850 plus who have been killed since these protests began. And we're talking, all these are peaceful protesters. Ethnic minorities around the country are joining the protesters. Rohingya have also been part of these protests. And I think it's taken the people of Myanmar to face the same brutality and torture at the hands of this regime to actually think about what happened to the Rohingya. So we saw a few of them coming forward in the protest saying we're sorry about what happened to the Rohingya, we're brainwashed, all these kinds of messages. Of course, not enough, but inshallah, this will continue to grow.
Yes, inshallah. Now let's talk about the campaign, joining the movement, wearing black on Sunday.
Right, so we're asking everyone to wear black and post a message of solidarity on any social media they're on, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and to use the hashtag. So hashtag capital B Black, the number 4, and capital R Rohingya. And we really want to trend, inshallah. So we hope for lots of participation. We often have a lot of international participation, not that much South African participation. And inshallah, this year, I hope that changes.
Well, certainly. And I think in the past, obviously, we have covered this Black for Rohingya movement in the past as well. And, we've seen a fair amount of success, as you mentioned, overseas. And this time around, inshallah, we hope it's going to make even a bigger impact.
I mean,
well, Jazakallah for that, Shabnam. And just to remind our listeners once again, Sunday, Black in solidarity with Rohingya. And you can share your photos, your messages of solidarity on any of the social media platform, as Shabnam mentioned, using the hashtag, obviously, what Black for Rohingya, which is hashtag Black with the number 4 and Rohingya, inshallah. Well, Shabnam, Jazakallah for that and for sharing what you have with us this morning. All the best to you, inshallah. Have yourself a wonderful Jummah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Looking to get your kick? Kiki's have now reopened on 235 Matthews Maiwa Road in Durban. Head on over for the Taste with Kick. We offer something scrumptious for everyone in the family. Wraps, chicken tikka, burgers, tender grills, mocktails, milkshakes, and so much more. Corporate and events catering available. Visit our social media pages for more info or call 031 209 0119. Kiki's, the Taste with Kick.
The Al Shazia Weekend Winter Sale now on. 20% off all ladies and girls abayas, 15% off all plain and branded abayas, 20% off all Samira kaftans, 20% off selected kurtas. Warm up to our sizzling specials this winter. 3 days only, 11, 12 and 13 June. Al Shazia, the scarf specialist. 215 Sparks Road, Overport, Durban. Call 031 207 6462. Al Shazia.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African